Listen, spontaneity can lead to some really amazing things.
Yeah.
So welcome everybody to Sohmalife Sunday, and happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Hope you all had a beautiful day filled with love. I think every day should be filled with love. Okay, well, let's see. What shall we talk about? Lloyd, are you there with us? I don't know if he's able to speak tonight. I think he's scheduled a few weeks out, and I think he just had some work done in his throat. Mary, would you like to talk about, as one of our guests that's here with us tonight, about what your journey with Spirit has been like for you, especially most recently? I think it's been pretty fascinating.
Oh, yeah, it's really taken off lately. Well, I'm working on reading the records, and I'm really, really enjoying it very, very much.
Records.
The Akashic Records.
Right.
And I went in yesterday for myself, and I asked if there was any block or anything about my own clairvoyance. And the record keepers said, yeah, you got a ton of blocks, but that's not the problem. The problem is that when you come in, you have a bad attitude. You come in dreading going in, thinking you're not going to see or hear or be able to read the records. And they said, try it now. Try coming in with a good attitude. And so I did, and I had this remarkable experience in the records.
You know, I've been saying to people lately that we're such self-fulfilling prophecies. I have a friend, and he's like, this is going to be really difficult, or this is going to be really hard. And I said, what if it was actually really easy? What if you saying it was going to be hard immediately created that it was going to be hard? We were lifting a mattress and a box spring out of a truck. And he goes, this is going to be really heavy. And I was like, I thought to myself, no, it's going to be really easy. And I literally picked it up, and he goes, my God, you're strong. And I thought, no, it's going to be easy. I love that the record said that to you, because I think so much of the time we are our own worst enemies with the things that we say, with our own consciousness.
I know. And I didn't really realize I was setting myself up to fail. So yeah, it was really an amazing experience beyond that. And then I read them today, and I did just fine, because I didn't go in there dreading it. I went in there looking forward to it, and just with no expectation. It's really nice to have a partner who has no expectations, and I just tell them up front, we'll get what we get. But yeah, it was really good, and it felt really comfortable. So that's just happened since yesterday.
Congratulations. Listen, having access to the Akashic Records is truly one of the greatest resources in the universe. They are our best friends. They are our beloveds. They know us more intimately than we know ourselves. And a lot of people are afraid to go in there. They're like, oh, I can't hear. And the truth is, they're just scared of what's in there. Do you feel like it changed for you from a relationship of fear to one of love?
Well, I just had no idea that the records would be so personal. And
It's the
so
story of your life, baby. How could it not be?
I don't know. I don't know what I thought. I didn't know it would be so loving. I didn't know it would just be this tremendous unconditional love. And you're protected in that you're not really shown more than you can handle. And they're just, I mean, the beings that oversee this are so loving and so wise.
Yeah.
That they just show you what you need, and it's just incredible. It's been an amazing experience. I was getting confident, but I still had that attitude. And then last night that just all switched for me. So I feel like I've turned a corner on it. So thank you for your leadership and for teaching me how to go in there.
You're welcome. So Mary was just asking, how do you read your records? So Mary, one of the things that I do is I teach people how to read the Akashic Records as a class that I teach. I teach it as a standalone class, and I also teach it as part of a larger class. It's called Quantum Healing. It's part of a year-long teaching that I do. It's called the Quantum Living Curriculum. And we get people ready to read the Akashic Records. There are some people that can go in blind. Like I taught two students on Saturday, and one woman was just overjoyed with her relationship with the records. And the other student, he said, I can't hear anything, I can't see anything, nothing's happening while I'm in there. Now we know that there are things that are happening while you're there. And what's happened is we as human beings have blocked our ability to hear and our ability to see and our ability to fear and our feel and our ability to just know inside of the records. It calls upon our clair abilities, our clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance. So what we do in the 6 weeks, no, actually in the 4 weeks prior to learning how to read the records in quantum healing, is we learn tools and techniques to help clear our clairs. We learn something called psychic surgery that removes blockages that we have, energy blockages within our physical, spiritual, mental, or emotional bodies. And then we spend a month preparing people to go into the records. And Mary Boatman, the thing that I remember is that when you and I did this last year, when I taught you to read the records, one of the things that they revealed about you is that you were one of the guardians of the records. So you really have an extraordinary relationship with them. I was told that information. I never shared that with anybody. And then you were the first person that they revealed that about. And then, I found that Alex was one of them, Natalie was one of them, and there are a few other people that have come along. Carla is definitely, has an extraordinary relationship with the records. So, Mary, if you want to learn how to read the records, there's a book you can read by a woman named Linda Howe, who was my teacher. I studied with her 3 years ago, called How to Read the Akashic Records. Or you can take a training class with me. Like I said, I offer them once a month. And then also, there's a whole series of training you can do to get ready. If people have a relationship with spirit, I feel like it's easier for them because they trust it. But if they don't, there's just some work that they have to do. There are lifetimes where we were killed for what we saw, what we knew, what we spoke, and so people were like, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna keep that open." Oh, they blinded me because of the visions that I had. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that again. But then what happens is our clairvoyance gets shut down. So if you want to know more about it, we can talk offline. But there's a lot of great books, and there's not only one way to access the Akashic records. Jesus actually talked about them 7 different times when he wrote about the Course in Miracles. So I found that really fascinating, and I've taught a bunch of people, and Mary is one of them, how to read it. And so the more that you can trust the records, you'll have an extraordinary relationship with them. Mary, have you asked them more about them saying that you're a guardian?
I haven't really asked them, but something has happened that I just figured out today what's happening. So this is kind of a strange thing, but I knew that they had opened sort of a portal over me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I told you about that. That was a while back. And so what I'm finding is that when I'm doing psychic surgery, people are able, I'm sort of like a conduit of the records.
Yes.
And so when we're doing the surgeries, they're accessing the records somehow through me. I'm like a transformer or something. It's a strange
You're a
situation,
channel. You're a
a
channel.
channel. Yeah. And
Yeah,
it
that's
gets,
part of, I have the same thing happen, and that's part of our guardianship. Like we're granted access to their records.
it's a real interesting phenomenon that I wasn't sure what was happening until actually today they told me that. Because I was asking what is happening here, because people are getting very graphic images of what it is they're healing.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm a conduit basically of the records for them. And so they're going into their records when they've stored like old energy from past lives where they were burned at the stake or whatever. they're actually seeing it. And so I was told that I need to work with people who have more of not just beginners on a spiritual path, but more, they've done more of the mental work already
Yep.
instead of people who are just starting out, because it can be a bit much for them because they haven't done that work yet. So I'm getting it kind of refined a little bit and kind of being given some direction about what I need to be doing or not doing. It's very interesting.
This is why I was told to have everybody learn psychic surgery and clearing the clairs prior to learning the Akashic record.
Absolutely.
Because
So,
sometimes, like the
yeah.
student I had over the weekend, he was like, I don't hear anything, I don't see anything. And there are people like that we have that in class and on the platform in the morning, who say that they don't. And it's not that they don't, it's that they've blocked it. And it takes it's a big adult conversation to take responsibility for the fact that you shut down your own abilities and to be willing to go in. And sometimes it takes the record saying, hey, stop being a whiny ass bitch about this and like get positive and get in here and get it done, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, they'll
And
tell you what you need.
yeah, they
It's kind
do.
of,
And
and it's
and
done with love.
they
It's
will
done with
not
love.
it is it and they will not give it to you. They will never give you more than you can handle,
Yes,
at all. At all.
absolutely. Yes, I found that to be true. It's so helpful, though. I had no idea that they were such a force for healing. This
Yeah.
was news to me, and I've healed so much there, and I feel like I have a lot more to heal there, but it's such an amazing resource for us. And
It is.
I don't actually think you have to have clairs open. I think if you're a spiritual being, you'll have access. I think we all have access. We just don't know what I had no idea that's why I was remembering past lives, because
It
I was hooked up with the records. That was
it
news to me.
it is. You do have your clairs open. For the visuals that you're seeing, your
Yeah.
clairvoyance is open.
Yes. And I guess it was. And so I thought it wasn't, but
I
so
know.
yeah, I don't know. It's just been an eye opener.
It's beautiful. That's
It's been
beautiful.
fun. I've really enjoyed it, and I appreciate your guidance with it.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been my honor and my delight. It's funny, I was having a conversation with Steve tonight, and he's like, I don't know what my life's purpose is. And I remember, I remember being in that position, thinking, what is my life supposed to be? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? And at the tender age of 59, now I know. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm doing it. I thank God every day, that I know who I am, what I'm here for, and how I'm doing it. It was so interesting. I was at BJ's is like a version of Costco today, and I reached out to one of my girlfriends because I remembered she had this amazing coleslaw recipe, and I texted her and I was like, "Hey, what's that coleslaw recipe you have?" And she's like, "Which one? I've got three of them." So she's taking pictures and she's sending me recipes, and we were chatting, and she said, "I just want you to know that I watch you on Facebook and I see what's happening. I'm so happy for you in your new home in Virginia and that your
Mm.
life, like you're where you're supposed to be." And it was so funny because I thought, oh my God, of all people, this is a woman I've known for 34, 35 years. She taught me how to cook. So I've gone to her for recipes, for years. Um, and then another friend of mine was like, I love catching you on Facebook and seeing what you're up to. So people, they're watching us, they're watching what we're doing. They're watching these conversations, whether we've got 30 people here, whether we've got 6 people here. There are eyes on us and the messages that we're delivering, whether I'm channeling Mary Magdalene or channeling Jesus or talking about the Akashic records. And people need us, Mary. That's what I can promise you. They need our help. They need our vision. They need our gift. And that's what we're here for, you know?
Amen.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. How are things with the puppy?
Whew. We've had a major setback.
Oops.
We've been going we've been going great guns, but it's gotten really cold here. I'm in Oklahoma, and our wind chill today was in the negative teens.
Oh, good Lord, baby.
And
The
so
dog has to be in the house. Yeah.
the puppy decided he would go out and pee and come in to poop. and, then, and then over the course of the day, he decided he'd just go ahead and pee in the house too.
Oh, Lord, it's like having a baby in the house. It is
We've
a
been
baby
doing
puppy.
so well, but today has just been a very bad
Well,
day.
I'm so sorry that you won't be joining us for the Akashic Records retreat at, at the Edgar Casey Center. My God, that would have been a joy. But we'll have
You'll
to do
have
it.
to bring me up to speed at some point.
I will, I will, I will. We'll have to when you're past this puppy phase, we'll have to do it again.
Yes, yes. So
So
my internet was out, and this internet repairman came over, and he has a husky too. And he said, "Oh, are you potty training him?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I've got one that's one." And I said, "Is she potty trained?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "How long did it take?" He said, 2 months.
well, think about how long it takes to train children, right?
I know, but this is gross.
God bless you. That's all I have to say. God bless you. I've got
Thanks
Pat.
for asking.
You're welcome. I've got a well, I was, Alicia, my assistant, goes, Mary can't make it, because of the dog. And I was like, what? I was just heartbroken because I know your relationship with the Akashic Records.
Yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
it just felt like you were really supposed to be there. And I'm sorry that you had to cancel, but we'll do it another time.
Hey, Spirit's the one that made me get this dog. So what can I say? They want me picking up poop. I'm picking up poop.
Bless you. God
Yeah.
bless you. So another one of our guests this evening is Lloyd, and Lloyd has an extraordinary relationship with God. Lloyd, would you share a little bit of what's going on and how all that evolved? Are you in a position where you can talk tonight?
Yeah, fortunately.
Can you share about the relationship that you have and what's been unfolding and the messages that you've been receiving from God?
Well, recently the messages have kind of slowed down because I guess we're past the ascension period, and so he's kind of slowed his messages down, and I got one coming up tonight. We're thinking about doing it yesterday, but then I kind of fell asleep, so we're gonna put one out tonight, and but it was coming out pretty much daily since December 1st, and it was coming out pretty much daily, regularly, and I thought it was going to be a daily thing, but I guess he decided to let me rest a while, and
Well, you've been having some health challenges, I know. Are you feeling better now?
well, not exactly. I got a fractured tooth,
Okay.
and I've been doing Reiki on it, but Reiki's been helping out a little, but not that much though. But when I eat, it's very painful to eat because I guess it's hitting a nerve in the mouth or something like that. So
I'm sure.
I have to take a pain pill to
Oh.
calm it down.
Yeah,
And
that'll definitely interfere with the connection.
yeah.
Yeah.
so I see the dentist tomorrow, and
Okay.
hopefully he's gonna resolve it tomorrow. So
So, Lori, how did your conversations with God begin for you?
um I would say a couple weeks before December 1st, but actually it actually started when I was a little child. When I
Mhm.
was about maybe, I'd say about maybe 5 or 6. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I remember I used to make it rain. And I used to send these signals up to heaven. And when I wanted it to rain, I would send some signs up to heaven, and within 15 minutes it would be raining.
Wow.
I mean, it'll be a clear blue sky, and within 15 minutes it'll be raining cats and dogs. And
That's incredible.
when I wanted to make it clear, well, when I wanted to stop raining, I sent another set of signals up, messages up, and it would stop raining.
Wow. That's actually really, really cool.
And so I thought it was just my imagination, but for eh, and I wasn't brought up Christian or believing in Jesus or God or anything like that. I was brought up in a Buddhist family,
Hmm.
but for some odd reason I felt this connection to God. And I would be offended when people used to say bad things about God and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And even then, when I was very young, I had a hard time understanding the Buddhist religion,
Hmm.
and I had a hard time struggling with it. And so when I was in my 30s, my company sent me to Algeria, and I had two near-death experiences in Algeria. One, I was fixing a refrigerator in my apartment, and little did I know, but I was being shocked by fixing the live wire to my
Wow.
refrigerator, and I felt this. I felt this little buzzing going up my finger, and didn't notice at the time, but I was actually being electrocuted at the time.
Wow.
But I lived through it. And then about several weeks later, I was being transported by the company in a company car, and the car kept breaking down as I was being transported from the hotel to the company site, and it kept breaking down. And all of a sudden, it just broke down under a bridge. And this was a small company transport car. It was a small Renault. And so all of a sudden, I see my driver start to duck, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. He said, "Take cover." And all of a sudden, this big military transport truck rammed right into our rear end, and
Wow.
gas started spewing all over the place. And fortunately, they got us out of the car right in time, because gas started was leaking all over the place. It was leaking all over the highway and stuff like that. Fortunately, the car didn't blow up or anything like that, but got everything out of the car, and they got me to the company where I was working at, uh, um, on healthy and on time stuff like that. I said to myself, angels are taking care of me, because I know that God was looking after me, or something higher was taking care of me at the time.
That's beautiful.
And so about 6 months after I came back in 1980, I was invited to join a Christian church.
Mm.
And at that time, it was around my birthday, and I decided to become baptized in the Christian church.
That's beautiful.
And even though my family decided that, I was being brainwashed and stuff like that, I said, I'm not being brainwashed. I know my mind was, I knew where I was going. I knew that I had a calling. And so I answered the call to accept Jesus into my life. And
Mm.
so,
That's gorgeous.
so, I answered this call, and he said, I have a gift for you. And the gift was Jesus, and I accepted that call. And ever since then, my life has changed so dramatically. and it's still changing, even up till December 1st, 2020. Well, even before that, a couple weeks before that, that I kept feeling a door knock, a spiritual door knock, um, inside of me, and and up to then I was reading books on channeling, and I couldn't figure out why I was getting s- these spiritual feelings, and I couldn't figure out because up to then I was always great. I was always saying good morning to God, and He was always answering back. And so, when I asked my higher self to give me a indication of as to who this spirit was or what this spirit was,
Mhm.
she told me ask myself, go in meditation, go into a deep trance, and just find out for myself who this spirit was. So up to that time, I started becoming accustomed to going into the garden, like you led us into that meditation of yours.
Mhm.
And so I went into that meditation. I went to the garden and invited the spirit to come with me. And so I asked him, or asked it, or whatever it was. And so he was kind of hesitating on giving me his name.
Mm.
And I kind of thought that it might have been Saint John or something like that, some disciple or something like that, somebody
Mhm.
like that. And so he finally caved in, and it says, I am who I am.
Mm.
I said, oh my goodness, I'm talking to Source.
That's beautiful.
And so ever since then, he says, I want to start up a conversation with you as your guinea pig,
Mm.
because you said you wanted to channel, spirit. And you didn't say exactly who, but it says, I thought I'd be your guinea pig. So ever since then, we started conversating with, conversating with each other. And that's how everything started there. And
That's
ever since
gorgeous.
December 1st, that's how our messages started coming through.
Well, you've done like what, 75 readings?
Something like that. Yeah.
Incredible. Um, Lloyd's gift is beautiful and his messages are really stunning. I know that you're posting them on Facebook and also on the Mighty Network platform. Have you thought about assembling them and putting them in a book?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gorgeous. I have a feeling the message I'm getting from Spirit is that as you come off of the medication, that the messages will start again
Yeah.
because the medication is actually causing some interference.
Uh,
Um, for me, I am always looking to be able to bring forth the cleanest and the clearest messages. And most recently have stopped eating flour and sugar and have been practicing yoga. And I noticed that for me, there's an ease now with the messages that are coming through, and they're coming through richer and deeper. This morning, when I was delivering the message from Yeshua to everybody, at the end of it, 3 people were like, wow. I don't, because I'm a full body trance medium, I don't tend to remember I don't remember what he said this morning. But there's just, and I'm also someone, I was told by Metatron and Wendy to get Herkimer. So I have Herkimer earrings and a Herkimer ring. I wear this thing, I sleep in it. And this is my ring that's my relationship with God. So being a channel can be deeply impacted with the use of drugs and alcohols and, alcohol and what we're eating. So when that, when you're done with the medication and when the tooth is fixed, I have a feeling that that'll clear up for you. In fact, I'm being told for sure that will.
I have this Herkimer
Yeah.
crystal right above my
Beautiful.
computer. I used to have
Beautiful.
two, but I don't know what happened to the second one. But I
Yeah.
have that with me.
Herkimer acts like a laser and it cuts right through. Mary, you might want to check into getting one of those for yourself. Lord, thank you so much. Mary, I know that you are Rob's sister, and I know that you live in Kauai, and I know that you're here week after week after week. And I just wanted to, in Rob's absence, bring you here to represent the Scarpa family. So thank you for being with us. And can you please share some of your journey with spirit? Because Rob says it's been really remarkable.
Well, I'm not the only Scarpa here. Jackie LaBorde is in the background there. That's my sister as well.
Hey,
And
Jackie.
my daughter Lauren is here.
Hey, Lauren. So Rob wrote to me last minute and he's like, please forgive me. I can't be there tonight. Please understand my position. And I'm like, okay.
It's his anniversary today, actually.
Oh, I had no idea. And if I'd known, we never would have. Anyway, it's fine. Listen, spirit directs all of this, so I completely understand. I'm sure that Lori was like less than pleased that he'd be stepping away. Oh, that's good to know. So can you share, Rob has always said that you have a really extraordinary relationship with spirit. Could you please share some of that with us, my love?
I'm all anxious. Do you ask me that? Let me just settle down a little bit. My relationship with spirit is long, and probably, I'm sure it began in my youth alongside with Rob. But, we were born and raised in a Catholic family, and close family, devoted parents to their faith. But something shifted and changed for me when I was probably in my early 40s. I had witnessed a woman who actually had the gift of a stigmata.
Wow.
In a church setting. It was
Wow.
They had arranged this woman to come and visit. She did her little talk. She was very, I want to say she looked very satanical in her appearance, because she was dressed in black, and she had, she wasn't an extraordinary looking woman, but she wore mesh gloves. What is those? I guess it's mesh.
Those lace gloves. Yeah.
Yeah, with the cut off fingers.
Almost
and I
like
didn't really understand.
Almost like fishnets.
Fishnets, that's the word. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So it was at a time when I really wanted my children and my husband mostly to get on board with bringing my children to church, because he was so distant from it. And he too was born and raised Catholic. And that was what I wanted for them. But anyway, as it all turns out, he came with me that particular night. And that was a turning point for me specifically. And him too. He got on board and he came back to Catholicism for a short stint until I said, I'm done. It was like my turning point away from Catholicism, as it turned out. But this woman was, through ceremony and what have you, she was greeting all of the parishioners that were at the church. And in that, she was allowing people to embrace her. And I just felt like I wanted to embrace her, because I was grateful that my husband was there and that he was getting on board. And that was the whole purpose of me bringing him, was to bring him into faith again, or more structured faith. And I held her, I hugged her. And when I stepped back, I looked into her eyes and I didn't see any eyes. I just saw this deep light, this intense light that just drew me in. And went back to my seat after that embrace, and my whole body was tingling where I had touched her. And when I was at my seat, when we went back, and it was a very long wait to greet this woman, because the church was packed and they had chairs outside and what have you. And I didn't feel time moving past slowly at all, but I broke down into true hysteria. I mean, I lost it. I cried my soul out or something. I don't even know what it was, but real tears. And they weren't sad tears. They were just tears of maybe of remembering an old friend, I want to say. Not that she was that person. But
it was the light.
Yeah. So that started me on this really more intense path of searching. And then from there were these books that were written by Neil Donald Walsh called Conversations with God. Yeah. And I went into Borders bookstore, because now I'm searching and I can't get enough of what I'm looking for, and I don't even know what I'm looking for. And I picked up a second book in his original series, and because it was cheaper, I was going to buy it. And when I got up to the counter, there was nobody around. And I had this whole conversation with myself. I mean, I bought the Course in Miracles, and but these books kind of drew me to them. When I got up to the register to pay for the book, nobody was there. And the first book that he had written was sitting on the counter right in front of me. So I was like, okay, you want me to read this one. I get it. So I actually bought both of them. Started on the second one first, and it kept on referring back to the first one. I was like, okay, I'm stubborn. I know, I'm giving it over. And I went to the first, and then there was no going back. It's just been remarkable and fantastic. So to bring you fast forward to now, so now I am searching more specifically to develop my intuitive sense, because I've always been very intuitive, and see where that takes me. I don't know if that takes me into mediumship, or I'm not sure. So that's my,
That's
elevator.
beautiful. That's really beautiful. I run a psychic development academy, and starting in March for 12 weeks, we're going to have 4 teachers. Myself, Joseph Dyros, Sarah Curley, and Alicia Munian. And we teach mediumship, and we teach connecting to divine guidance, and we teach psychic healing tools, and we teach tools of divination. That may be something that you might want to look into.
Yeah, it begins in March. Is it posted on your Facebook page, or how do you find out more about it?
We have a Psychic Development Academy page, and we also have the website that's called Psychic Development Academy.
Okay, I'll look into it.
And Sarah, Joseph, and I, and Alicia are all mediums and channels and psychics. So this is our 5th time doing it in 2.5 years. It might be something you would really enjoy.
Yeah, it sounds like I picked up a book that I realized I had purchased many years ago after one of these calls, sitting in on one of these calls, and it's called The Psychic Pathway. And when I picked it up, I started to reread it. I must have started it back then. And again, the waterworks, I couldn't stop crying because it was speaking so directly to me. So this is perfect.
That's beautiful. I've always felt, Mary, that when our heart opens up like that, it's like we're meeting a part of ourselves that we haven't seen in a long time, that we haven't connected with in a long time.
Yeah.
And it's like our heart opens up again.
That was many, many years ago now, because my children were babies then, and I remember picking them up when I got home and I invited them. I said, I have something I want to give you. And when I was holding them, I could feel the energy that I had been gifted transferring to one. And then I had to put one down so I could pick the other one up. And I said, wait, I have to give some to your sister. And I picked her up. So, yeah, it was pretty crazy. There's been a lot of that kind of stuff though in my life. That's the first one that came to mind though.
Now, what brought you from New York all the way out to Kauai? I love Kauai, by the way.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see you when you come in November, if you're coming. Right?
Yes, we are. We're doing the retreat we're doing in November is going to be to Kauai. Well, that'll be delightful. I can't wait.
Yeah,
hopefully Rob will come on that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
We're doing Costa Rica in May, and then August. It's either going to be Sedona or Mount Shasta, and then November is Kauai.
Well, Kauai was a calling, not so much for me as it was for my husband. I mean, we came here in our youth and camped on the beach and did all that kind of stuff. And my sister Jackie, who's on the call, she kind of did a little bit of that too with her boyfriend at the time. Although I had lived here, I had moved here prior to her visiting. But it was the surf scene, we were kids. It was the surf scene, and it was a change of lifestyle, and it was getting out of New York. And it was tough. It wasn't an easy move for me because, Rob's family is pretty tight and, and big, right? I mean, we're one of 10. So it was kind of heart-wrenching. And I, hindsight being 2020, I'm exactly where I was supposed to be. Never realized it at the time, but 35 years later, and it's home. So
yeah, I lived on Oahu.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And would visit Maui. And actually, it's interesting. It wasn't when I lived in Hawaii that I went to Kauai, but I went with a shaman in a group back in 2004, and it
Mm.
was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time on Kauai. I
Did you
absolutely love it.
did you go to the Kalalau? Did you ever go to Kalalau Lookout up in Kokei?
Mm-mm,
I want to see if I can show you
no.
something that was
We
taken up.
were we were we were up in the north, Kapa'a.
Kapa'a.
We had friends that were staying at Princeville. I
Mm.
want to say there were 24 of us in a house. It was a huge house.
Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
yeah, right on the water. It was, we were doing ayahuasca ceremonies, and it was a whole thing. Shaman's community I've been involved with for 25 years. But
Wow.
yeah, there was a magic that was there. There was a woman that we went to. She had a group that they would do massages for people.
Uh-huh.
Um, just some really, really remarkable experiences there. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I wanted
And I
to
mean,
just,
I loved Hawaii. I lived, like, as I mentioned, I lived there for 4 years. It was really beautiful.
well, there's a really magical spot. I'm just looking at my photos while I'm talking, so please forgive me for
Yeah,
being rude.
so-
But there's a magical spot up at the Kalalau Lookout, that many people experience their what I believe to be their aura.
wow.
And I have a dear friend who was visiting me at the time, and we went up there, and it's just an open path. It's not anything, that's hard to get to.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, let me see if I can show you this on my. So this is just looking out at the Kalalau. I don't know. Can you see that, or is there too much glare?
Now I can see it.
Can you see that halo around
Yeah.
head in the
Yep,
shadow?
yep. Yeah.
So it moved with us.
It's literally the colors of the rainbow. It goes
Yeah.
red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet.
Right.
That's gorgeous.
So, and then there's another one that even defines it a little bit more, where you could actually see the shadow of bot. Here it is. Again, I have my windows open, so it makes it hard to see, but this
Wow.
is not for me specifically, although
Yeah.
it's me. I think it's for anybody. So you see the shadow of my body on the ground,
Yeah.
and then above
With the
that
light-
is what
the
I
light.
think. Yeah, I think that's an aura, I want to say. So when my girlfriend leaned into me, our auras joined, and it was just one halo around the two of us. It was a pretty phenomenal experience.
That's
So
gorgeous.
yeah, and then I'm running around telling everybody, look, and my girlfriend's laughing at me, and I'm like, it's here for everyone. They could do that, She's just like, you're crazy. But anyway, so that's up in the canyon, like Waimea Canyon area,
Mm.
on the west.
Waimea is gorgeous. We went to Waimea Falls.
Yeah, well, there's lots of falls around too. Yeah, so it's pretty magical up there. We had a cabin up there for several years, and I always felt spirit up there. Always, it's
Yep.
pretty magical. It's fun.
Well, they say that Kauai is the last remnant that's still above the water line of what was left of Lemuria.
That's what Robert has shared with me. I'm not familiar with that, but he's shared that with me. He's like, I know why you're on Kauai. Like, okay then.
I've never known anyone who's more certain of everything that comes out of his mouth. We lived when I lived in New York, in Huntington, we were like 5 minutes from each other.
Yeah.
So, I have a funny story. I don't know if you ever heard this story. Rob wanted nothing to do with the Akashic Records. He's like, I'm not interested in the past. I don't care about my past lives. But he was fascinated with the Pauldings. And he went and he did some research on the Pauldings, and, bought the property that he lives on, and it was owned by the Pauldings. And all I knew is in Huntington, every time I would drive up and down Oakwood Road, which is where I lived, there was a beautiful rural cemetery. And I've said my whole life since I was young, because we used to go sled riding there because there's a hill, I'm going to be buried in that cemetery. I'm going to be buried in that cemetery. So one day Rob says to me, okay, I got a message from Spirit, and they said, I need to learn to read the Akashic Records. Damn it. Will you train me? And I'm like, absolutely. I said, listen, I've got to drop my car off at the auto shop at like 8:30 in the morning. I said, meet me there, come pick me up, and then we'll go back to the house and I'll train you. And he's like, okay. So there's a place in Huntington called Condra Hall, and we used to live across the street from it. And it is my favorite place. And whenever I would have someone come and visit, I would take them there and I would show them this magnificent view of the harbor. And I loved this. There's a mansion that sits on it. And beyond it, there's a school called Southdown School. And I can't tell you why, but my whole life I was always mad at the school. Why would you be mad at a school? Like it's unreasonable. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so we read Rob's records and he asks the records, because there's a portion where in the training where you ask the records a question of yourself, and then I have him read me to read my records so that he can practice reading somebody else. So you learn to read for yourself and you learn to read for somebody else. And so he says to the records, was I Hiram Paulding? And they say, no, you were Hiram Paulding Jr., which is the one who owned the house that he and Lori and the
No
kids live on.
way. Huh.
Then he says, because he and I have always been like mother, son, brother, sister, very, sweet, sweet friendship, feeling like family. And he said, who is Lynn? And they said, she was your mother. She was Ann Paulding. And I'm like, get out of here. And he said, do you know that the Pauldings used to own the land that Condra Hall is on? And I was like, get the F out of here. And he said, yeah, all the way back to where Southdown School is. And I'm like, well, maybe that's why I was always mad at the school, because that wasn't supposed to be there. This was, our land. He goes, come on, I want to show you something. So we get in his truck. It's time for me to go pick up my car. We go over to the cemetery and we're looking at our headstones. Here's Hiram Paulding. Here's his wife, Ann. And over here is Hiram Paulding Jr.'s headstone. And I'm like, get out of here. No wonder I wanted to be buried in the cemetery, because I was buried in the cemetery. Then we drive down to Condra Hall and like I'm crying and I'm having memories. It was just the craziest experience. The craziest experience. So your brother and I have a deep, abiding, soul connection and friendship, which is how this whole platform got started. And he had been to countless workshops, in learning light language and how to channel and everything, and his whole channeling experience came out of attending a class at the Sohmalife Sanctuary, which is my sanctuary that we had in New York. So your brother is a very precious friend of mine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, I resisted the record so much, but there's so much information in there. And my love, if that's something that you would like to learn, it's one of the things that I teach during the Psychic Development Academy. So let's see. It's almost 9:00. Welcome, Lauren. It's good to have you here. So sweet. Let's see. I'm going to bring Jesus through right now. He's got a message that he'd like to deliver. Greetings, beloveds. It is indeed our delight to be with you, as we always are. Know that you are known to each of us. Know that you are beloved. Know that we are with you in your thoughts. We are with you at every moment. We are with you when you hear the voice of spirit that is whispered, when you hear the voice of spirit that shouts. We are as we always have been, as you are. Know that God is, as each of us are, ever present, ever loving. As you make this journey through this dimension of co-creation, through this dimension of duality, you come upon one another and you think, they seem like a friend, or they seem like a bitter enemy. Understand, beloved, that this is indeed a hall of mirrors. In each being, each relationship, each circumstance that you find yourself within is merely doing one thing, which is returning you back to the road towards home, towards the kingdom, towards truth. So embrace all that you meet along the way. Know that they are placed there by an aspect of your soul that said, please help me to see myself as I have forgotten. Help me to know and help me to remember the truth of me. And then there we are, guiding you on your way back to your own divinity, back to the aspect of you that has always existed and always will. We thank each of you for your presence. We thank you for your consciousness and your commitment. We love you more than you could possibly imagine, except when you imagine with the mind of God that you were granted at the moment of creation. Our blessings to you always, beloved ones, and we will speak with you again. I think I'm the only yawning channel that I know. I yawn when they come in and I yawn when they go out. It's crazy. It's like this energetic.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for bringing him through.
Oh my God, it's my delight.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I've got a soul contract with him that's ancient. I've mentioned this before. My memories are of being his youngest sister, and like talk about hero worship. It's funny. I was always like, how come I don't have any memories of you in the crucifixion? And he said, because you weren't there, you were studying, and I've had that confirmed. Just don't think I could have handled that. Maybe I don't have to worry about it though. But when Magdalene came through, she was like a sister. She still is. And I get to be with her every day. We're making our way through the Course of Miracles. And I have the absolute honor of making that journey with her. And today was lesson 45.
Your microphone's messed up now.
Oh, sorry. That happens sometimes after I channel him. It gets a little funky.
Mhm.
All right. Well, then, can you guys hear me now?
Better.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll take a bow and say thank you all for being here. Mary, Lloyd, thank you so much. Lauren, Edna, Jackie, delightful to have you here. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. May we all continue to love, and love some more.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Love
so
you
much.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing yourself with us. Thank you, Lloyd, and thank you, Mary. I love you guys. And we will see you next week. Greetings, everyone. Take care and be well.